Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to another top 5 list. This time I'm here with Dave Luza. Hello, Dave.
Hi.
So, we're here to talk about our top games from 2020. Were there any caveats or any sort of stipulations you gave yourself when you were making this list?
I need to have had played the game, which is difficult in 2020.
Yes, yeah, it was a little awkward.
And I've got two games on number one, so we'll see.
Okay, fair enough. Now, did you include, now you said it was hard, did you include virtual plays or just physical plays?
I actually do not play virtual games. That just doesn't happen. In the beginning, it was a computer thing where my computer just wouldn't play all those Tabletopia and Tabletop Simulator style programs because it would just fly away. It sounded like... So I actually quit using them, and I'm very happy with only playing physical board games.
So let's kick it off. What is your number 5?
My number 5 game is a game that looks awesome. I think all the games I have look really awesome. It is Unmatched Cobble and Fog. It is...
Okay, yes.
It's not an expansion. You could call it an expansion, but it is a standalone game as well, where you are battling figures of, well, I wanted to say romance figures. There's a term for it. I don't know the term, but it is awesome to play as Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Have you played it?
I've not played this one. When I was speaking to Melissa, she sort of suggested that this was very much more focused. I've played Funkoverse, which is kind of similar, but there's more objectives in that. I think that from the sound of things, this one is more just sort of take each other out. Would you agree with that?
Definitely, it is a skirmish game. There are different boards, different rooms that you can play, or different areas actually, that you can play the game in. It's very thematic, although it's also, the art is beautiful and the characters make so much sense. And they have just announced more of the new characters coming out. They had some guests. People actually could create new characters. It looks awesome, and this is just an awesome set of characters to play with, especially if you combine it with other unmatched characters where you can all have them play against each other. It's so well balanced, and it's still tricky to get your head around. You can play it in 2-player. You could play 3, or you could even play 4. Well, I would say it's different. 2, 4, or even 3. And it still makes sense. I love it. I love Cobble and Fog. And look at the art. It's amazing.
I mean, yeah, it does look stunning. It's one of those ones, especially it sounds like there's a load more coming this year that I think I'm going to have to dabble with at least.
It's very hard to get this, at least in the UK, I know. There is
I think that's what stops
distributor,
me.
And it's also some of the titles that Restoration Games and Mondo Games use are IP based, and they need to get the license for the IP. And if you have it in America, it doesn't mean you get them in Europe as well. So that's holding off some of the expansions. But I think this one should come over.
Yes, yeah, I think basically all the unthemed, like all the non-really sort of up-to-date IP ones, I think are coming here. It's some of the IP ones where it's a bit like, I think Restoration has that rather than anyone else, and yeah, it gets a bit of a muddied water. But it's one I do need to check out. So my number 5, I don't know if you've played this one, is Cloud City.
Ooh.
So
it looks really beautiful as well.
Yeah, I like pretty much any game by Phil Walker Harding. There's been a couple of ones that haven't quite hit the mark, but Barham Park with the Bad News Bear expansion had those monorails, and then this is kind of a game that just takes that concept and expands on it. It's my number 5 because it's probably on the simple side. There's like advanced rules, and I think you always need to add at least sort of 1 or probably 2 of those in to make it that bit interesting from game to game. But I love the way that you're taking a tile, putting the buildings down, and then balancing, or not really balancing, but putting these walkways over them, and it looks great from sort of you lean round and look at all the different heights. You've played this one?
No, I haven't. No, but I have seen it, and I thought, ooh, what type of game is it?
So you're taking you're sort of drafting the tiles, I think it is, and then you're just building out this grid. And as soon as you take that tile, you take the height different. There's three different height skyscrapers. You take them straight away, add them to your board, and then if you want to, you can connect certain ones of the same height. And it's all about how many points you can score from that. But then the objective cards are like, if you make a loop, you might get bonus points, or if you don't connect two routes to that one skyscraper, you might get more. So that's where I think it really wins. It just maybe needed more of those to get higher.
Okay, interesting. Interesting. My next game is a storytelling adventure game. Another beautiful box to look at, Forgotten Waters. You are all sailors on a boat. You play it with up to 6 people, and there is definitely a cooperative element to it because you're on a boat. You try to fight, load the cannons, shoot the cannons, make sure everyone has a job to do, so you are able to advance your ship. Because if you lose from the pirates, or if you lose from other attackers, then you lose the game. But there is definitely a way of making your move better than anyone else's. So it works beautifully. So it has this storybook that you open up, and then you have your ship on a map, and you look at the port or at the area of the sea that you were on, and you look at it on the map, and there are different options for you to put your character on. So my character is doing this, and the other character is doing that. And sometimes a story pops up, and you get to do something cool, and that just... It's a story-driven game. It is adventure. It is pirates working together, but still do something for yourself. It is exploration. I love it. Forgotten Waters is really an awesome game.
I mean, I've not played it, but it certainly sounds good. How's that story? How is it driven? Is it driven by an app, a deck, like a passage from booklet, or?
You don't need the app, but there is a big storytelling. There's a big way of letting the story be told to you. Well, I'm saying you don't need the app. You do need. Let me remember. We always play with the app, but it might be the text is already. That it's an extra thing, but use the app because it really helps you, and there's a lot of theme there, and text is being read to you in character, and you get to really involve yourself, really dive into the world of pirates, and there are some things that you know are going to be cool because you get to read from the book, and you get some good choices there. But when those good spots are taken, you know that whoever is last in turn order, and that is a whole different game. You need to try to get your... I forgot the good word for it, but you need you need to be dangerous. You can get a scar, which is cool. Then everyone looks up to you, so you get higher in player order. But the jobs need to be done. So if you're not high up on the ranking, then you need to do the dirty jobs that that has to be done. And if no one else did it, then you're doing them.
So yeah, so it sounds like turn order is quite important as well.
It is, and there's a way of playing it in a 2-player game as well. You could actually play it by yourself, just doing the different characters to explore the story. But you could play with up to 6 people. It's awesome.
I think I do need to give that one a go. My number 4 is Mysterium Park. So to me, Mysterium was a brilliant game. It takes sort of the weird and wonderful Dixit artwork, and it gave sort of some kind of meaning to that game that wasn't just make a word up and people try and guess it sort of thing. Now in this one, it takes basically maybe a third of the time off, and streamlines the whole process. In Mysterium there was a huge like DM screen which you had to set up, and that took 5 minutes to set up. In this one there's just a board in the middle of the table you deal the cards out onto, and it's done. You don't need to faff around with a screen, so there's not decks to go through to sort things out. There's still a ghost that's handing out these vision cards, and people are trying to work out what they're alluding to deduce from this weird thing, like, what do they mean? Like, which location are they trying to point to with this card? And it gets to the table quicker. You still get all the same sort of fun of guessing. You guess a person and a place. You don't guess like the weapons, so you don't get the full Cluedo clue like person, place and weapon. You only get the 2 rounds, so it's that bit quicker. It's easier to get to the table, and that's why I'm probably never going to play Mysterium now. I've got Mysterium Park.
Ooh. Wow.
Have you given this one a go?
No, I haven't seen it even. I know of Mysterium. We play it, and that's fun. I don't mind the setup that much, but this sounds cool, really.
Yeah, the setup's not a huge problem with Mysterium, but it's just like that's 5 minutes and you've got this huge screen that really sort of zones you off as the ghost player. You don't have any of that. There's just like almost the card is almost like code names. It tells you, you look at it, it shows you the grid as the ghost, and it shows you, right, this is the card that this person's got to guess, this is the card that the other person's got to guess. So it's so much faster paced. And I think Mysterium, it wasn't too long, but this one, it feels better because it's faster. So
okay.
I definitely give it a go. And it's all like not circus, but like that sort of creepy carnival park themed. So it's quite nicely enclosed.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds interesting. Sounds good. My number 3 is we miss Essen. Of course we miss Essen. So I did not get a chance to see anything that was big or huge. I didn't get to play any of the huge big games except for Anno 1800, which is an awesome game.
I'm jealous already.
Yeah, it is such an amazing game. I love it. It is a Martin Wallace game, and I'm not usually that fond of his type of games, but this one is really different. And you have a board. There are so many different resources in this game. There's this market board that is completely filled with everything that you can imagine: soap, beer, glass, tractors, everything in between there. And you have hand cards, and those cards represent people. They have people on the backside, and they are from different standings. You've got the workers, then you've got the workers in business suits, and then you have like nobility, people who don't really work, the industrial. Yeah, and they all want something. So you have these hand cards, but they actually you also have those workers on your board. So a worker can go into a factory to make something, which can be whatever. And then you can use whatever that worker makes to make something else. So there's this production chain that you are creating, that you can add more cards, to add more people to your hand. They make different things. If you want to build a tractor, that's cool. Of course you want that, because that's what your card says you need. But to get to a tractor, you need an engine, you need a windshield, and how do I get an engine? How do I get a windshield? Oh, we need to invent glass, so we need to get people to, how do you get glass? Well, you need, I don't know the production chain for glass, but you need a couple of different things that go way back. So if I need a tractor at the end of the game, then you have your workers that create whatever. And there's also a way of using the factories that you are putting down. So I'm also looking at your board. What can I use? What factory can I let you produce something for me? So I don't need that. I mean, I could get glass from you, but then I better make sure that you are able to produce it. It's an amazing, difficult game. I long for a game like that because of lockdown. I want to get out. I want to play more different games with more people. I love playing games with my wife. I play games through the internet through Twitch every day, but those are all games that you play with a group and that are fairly light, although we have played some harder games. But I want to get meaty games to the table again, but it hasn't happened yet. But Anno 1800 is an awesome game, and I highly recommend it. It's not available yet. I think it comes out in June in English.
Yeah, it's. Have you played the video game franchise at all that it's based upon?
No.
Okay, so I'm a huge fan of that franchise, and ever since they announced it and it was going to be at Essen, I was so looking forward to it. And Cosmos have over here, they had a couple of copies. They were all in German though, and I'm absolutely gutted I haven't got my hands on this. Everything you're saying, from the production chains that, right, I need this to get this, and then eventually you work up and up and up, you get these better workers that can then turn that thing into something else, and that's all the production chains from the game, and it's brilliant in that. And the fact that it sounds like it's converted really well to a board game, I just cannot wait to actually be able to play this one. So yeah, very, very jealous of you for that one.
Yeah, awesome.
My number 3 is a game that I think I played it in 2018. Then I think it was because of Kickstarter, they basically had a full version of the game at that point at Essen. And then it didn't really officially come out until 2020, and that's Tang Garden.
Oh yeah, I have seen it, but...
So, to be honest, it's the production quality that's getting the game the love. It's the game where you are just... it's quite a small board, and you're putting down tiles in this Chinese garden. You're slowly growing it out. You're moving up these tracks by matching the type of terrain. So there's like the water, then there's sort of a gardeny grass area and stuff like that. So you're moving up those tracks for matching that. And then there's paths that give you gold and different things. You can put characters down onto the board, and they will score you bonus points at the end of the game depending on what way they're looking. Then there's pagodas and bridges and trees that all get put down onto the board. It looks absolutely stunning. It doesn't always work with all player counts. I think I think 2 was fine, but I think 3 there was like a perfect number of one person does one action, then second person does the same action, and the third person is almost forced to do a different one because of the way the tiles refresh. But otherwise, if you can break that cycle in any way when playing, it just looks absolutely stunning. And well, the gameplay's pretty good too, to be honest. It's tile placement, but there's other things to it. There's a bit of getting the right card set collection to then put these putting the trees down and different things, the decorations in the garden, and yeah, it just looks beautiful on the table. It really does.
My number 2 is a big game, another big game. It is the last of the big games, but I haven't played that many. Lost Ruins of Arnak, which I thought was amazing. I was so happy when I got it, and it hogs the table. There's a lot going on. In the beginning, you think, oh, I only have 2 workers. There's not a lot I can do. But in the end, you do so many things, and you can do that, and then that catapults into doing that, and then you get more resources, which is cool because you can go and do that. Everyone is got their base camp, and you are. I think you're an archaeologist of some kind or an adventurer, Indiana Jones, that type of. So you're an archaeologist, but cool.
Okay.
You go out and try to find treasure. Try to first experience the treasure and then write a book about it, and to make sure that everyone knows what you have experienced. And then you go to a dig site and you find some cool stuff, but there's a guardian, a mythical animal, a creature that you need to conquer. If you don't, then you get bad cards. So you already also get it's also a deck builder, trying to get artifacts to put in your deck. It is a lovely game, and I love playing it. I'm actually playing it tomorrow, and I can't wait.
How is the balance? This is one I do want to get at some point, but it was sold out pretty much instantly here.
Yeah.
How does it work between the balance between wanting to like place workers and the sort of the ability to build your deck up and run things that way?
That is actually you can do both by putting your workers on the board to dig. They actually give you the resources to do the other thing. So buying the cards is a benefit that comes from putting your worker to work.
Ah, so they're all really connected then.
Yeah. And of course you can choose there are two types of decks that you can buy cards from. There is artifacts that give some bonus during the game, but there are also equipment cards that you can bend the rules a little bit different and make sure that everything goes the way you want it. And those cards come up, and sometimes it's a huge thing coming up at the right moment, and sometimes, oh no, it's not what I wanted. And all cards can be used in two ways. You can use them as the card and show whatever cool thing they do. Sometimes you need to pay for it, but also when you put your worker on a spot, he needs to get there. So instead of using the action on the card, you can just discard the card for the movement that is on it. So if you need a motorboat, then you not use the action on the card, but you put it on your aside, so you can actually go to that dig site that is in the water. So you need to, and then you get more resources to go on the track and get points. And Lost Ruins of Arnak is an amazing game.
That last bit almost sounds like was it the Quest for El Dorado? The way you can either use them for the cards for something, or they've got symbols.
Oh wow, yeah, that. But it's just a tiny part of it. But you are right, because in the Quest for Race for El Dorado, then you need to play the green icons to go through the green terrain, and so there is a little bit of similarity there. But it's just a small part of the game. But
a small part of the big puzzle sort of thing.
Yeah, it is.
Ah, fair enough. No, I mean, you've sold it to me. I'm going to have to try and another one to try and play. So you've gone for a big box. I'm going to go for a very small box, a small card game, and probably one of the better card games I've played recently, and that's Spicy. So this is a really small card game. It works with 2 to 6 players.
Gonna look that up.
I first played it virtually at the UK Games Expo. They showed it there, and as soon as I come out of that demo, I was like, I need to get this game. There's basically 3 suits in the game. There's chili, wasabi, and I am going to blank on the last one, pepper. And you're basically bluffing what you're playing. So the first person puts a card down and they say like 3 of chili. The next person can go anything higher than that, up to 10, because that's the maximum value.
Yeah.
And then they can say, so they'd have to say chili, but they could put any number higher. So someone might play like the 7 of chili. Everyone looks around the table, they think that might be a bit shifty, and you can call them out on the bluff, basically. But the twist is, and this is probably why it works really well with everyone that I've played it with, you have to say you're bluffing about the number or you're bluffing about the suit. So a lot of games you can just say, look, you're bluffing, you know, if someone starts laughing or giggling, they give themselves away. In this, you could still be wrong. So if someone's played, say, in that example, they've said 7 of chili and it's actually the 7 of wasabi, but you've said they've lied about the number, they get away with it. And they get all those cards and their points at the end of the game. You're trying to get rid of your hand of cards without being called out, basically. So sometimes there's, you hold on to that card that you think this is going to be brilliant to play towards the end because they'll think I'm lying. And there's a few extra bonus cards that are like a wild of any type of, any number sort of thing and things like that just spice it up. Spicy nicely, but it's a really quick to play card game with a good amount of bluffing that even those that I've played it with that don't like bluffing normally, because of that aspect of even if you give yourself away, it's not the end of the game, they've liked it as well. But it's a good fun small card game.
Wow. Oh, I'm going to look that up. It's from Heidelberger. I'm just seeing.
Yeah.
It's got 7 more, I see. Yeah, it's got a lot of...
It's a very bright gold box, some very interesting card art as the number goes up from like 0, it's just got like the chili on a plate, to the 10 of chili, it's basically like a Chinese dragon with like their like fire coming out of the mouth because it's so hot, because it's got hotter as the cards go higher. So that's a nice touch as well. It just looks fun, and it's very quick and fun to play. This is going in a basket here. This is awesome. So we're here at number 1. This is... Here we go.
Oh boy. Yeah. So I have 2 games that are on my number 1 spot. It happened, okay. And I think... Okay. Since the start of lockdown, since March, I have been streaming on Twitch. Twitch.tv/Luzapalooza. That's me and my wife. We have been playing games, real games that are on our table, and that we're playing with everyone who's sitting at home and wants to play a game. So we've been playing games. Well, we started out with cartographers, right? We started out with Welcome to. Oh yeah, because everyone gets their own score sheet and they get to draw whatever the dice tell us or whatever the card flips, and then you do that. There has been so many amazing games that are actually converted to to that format, partly by me, because I think of new ways. We play Sagrada on stream. We play Calico on stream. You can play. You get your own board. I send you a link to a file that you print out, and then you play with us. All those awesome games, and it really works. We have so much fun. But that is how I got to know the game called Isle of Cats. Isle of Cats is polyomino cats that you're trying to fit on your boat, and if you own the game, you have all those cards, and you have them, you flip them, rotate them, and I'm putting them here on my boat. Try to Tetris-like fill your boat with cats. It is an awesome game, and I love it. It's on my number 1. So, Isle of Cats. There is a remote version of that game that has actually been created by the publisher of the game, Frank. He made Isle of Cats Remote Edition, a way of giving everyone a score sheet that looks like a ship, and then one person owns the game and they draw the cats out of the bag, and you choose which of the cats you want on your boat, and then you draw them in with different colors. It works amazingly, and if you don't want to print it out and color it in, you can load it onto an image manipulation program, MS Paint or GIMP or Photoshop, and it all works. And it is so much fun. There's so many smart decisions in the real game, in the remote edition of the game, and I'm blown away by that game. But it's polyominoes, drawing on a board that you can stream, that you can play for reals. And so it's sharing its number 1 position with My City. My City, Rainer Knizia game, which is Awesome. It's also a Cosmos game, and My City is it's a legacy game. Have you played it, Oliver?
I have, yes. We played it just as a couple, so just two of us. I know it goes up to four, but yeah, really enjoyed the way sort of it slowly progresses. Quite a sort of a light-hearted legacy game.
Yeah, it's called a legacy game. I would call it a campaign game because it doesn't really matter what happens. Normally, everyone's like, "Oh, I don't want to be spoiled," but it doesn't really matter what happens during the game. Oh, this small rule just changed. Would it have changed my opinion or my choices if I would have known that? No, it doesn't matter what you've done previously. It's just, oh, this is the state of the board right now. Let's dive in. The game comes. It is a tile laying game. So you have your board. It has it's a big square with, I think it's 11 times 11 squares on it, and a river runs through it. This is the start of your city, and someone draws a card with the shape of a tile on it. If you own the real game, then you actually put that tile and put it on your board. No flipping of the tile, very important, and you never are allowed to build a bridge with your building. It cannot be a bridge. It has to be alongside, and from there on, you're growing your city. It's buildings in 3 different colors, and slowly each game that you play, there's a little rule change that gives you something extra that keeps you coming back actually for more because that is what I love about it. Every week we play one game a week. We play it on stream every Monday on twitch.tv/luzapalooza. We play it with the audience. If you have missed a couple of games, it doesn't matter because I will give you a new score sheet. This is the state of the game right now. You can just jump in and have fun with us. It is at 9 p.m., by the way, if anyone in the UK wants to join us. That is the moment. For us in Europe, in the rest of Europe, it's 10 p.m., but for the UK, it's 9 p.m. And My City is such a lovely and such an amazing game that I highly recommend it to anyone who wants to have an experience of a legacy game, but it's not hard. It's in the beginning you think, this is it. This is the game, and then slowly, oh wait, okay, oh now my choices are a little bit different, and yeah, so there you have it. Number 1, number 2, My City and Isle of Cats. It's all number 1.
Yeah, I mean both brilliant games. To be fair, I'm not quite sure how Isle of Cats didn't make my list. It, we'll say that's an honourable mention, or the number 6. My City, there's a reason why it didn't make my top list, and I do think I class it as a legacy game because you are putting some stickers down,
definitely, sure,
and stuff like that. So there is change. So it might not impact everyone else, but if I've put this sticker down, and I'm not going to say what all of the stickers are, for instance, if I've put that there, then it does change my choices for the next game. In that first game, yeah, everyone is the same, but by the end, there's not a drastic difference. It's not, my board doesn't look completely different to someone else's, but they do look a little bit different. The reason it didn't make my list is because I put a different legacy game as my number 1. Can you guess what it is?
I have played it.
It's Pandemic Legacy Season 0. So I think this one is the one that really did Legacy the best. Although I would say that I think some of the mechanics and overall 1 was probably my favourite. 2, for us, we felt it was a bit of a dip. In this one, we really felt that a lot of legacy games, they throw rules at you. This is a new game, here's a load of new rules. And they do that in part in Pandemic Legacy Season 0, but it's done in a way that when you go into a game, okay, these are the legacy rules, these are the special actions that I'm going to need to do in this game. Whereas in, for instance, Legacy Season 2, there was a huge long list of actions, and every game towards the end you needed to know every single action. So you had to almost scan down the list and was like, right, what can I do about that? Oh, that's that special action that was introduced 4 games ago. And in season 0, there wasn't any. I didn't have that. There was a lot of new rules added, but only a few of them were ever used in specific months, I found at least, and it meant we weren't overwhelmed by a huge amount of choices. We could just enjoy the game. Now, there was certainly some luck coming out of the deck. You know, some of the events are on a flip the sort of top card or the bottom card, wherever it is from the deck, and something happens. Some people certainly didn't like that. I thought it was quite thematic, though. The idea was that it was like the Soviets were doing something you couldn't prepare for because it was their spies, and I kind of felt, well, actually, we shouldn't be able to prepare for that. So it was very thematic. It was like they've done something to a city in this area. It's like, okay, that hasn't had any effect, or maybe it has some huge effect. I can see why people don't like that randomness, but I kind of feel like it's not like they were going to message you ahead of the game and say, look, this is going to happen after 6 turns, you should do something about it. Yeah. It kind of just happens. So yeah, there was that randomness, but it had a lot of sort of hints at seasons 1 and 2 throughout, and it just wrapped the trilogy off quite nicely.
That was definitely fun to have some Easter eggs in it about previous seasons. You don't need to have played prior seasons. I mean, it's in, of course, just like Star Wars all over again, putting putting the season 0 after putting out 1 and 2. But I did not enjoy it that much, and my experience with season 1 was amazing. Then I did season 1 again because I had so much fun and was still blown away. Then season 2 came and we made a big mistake. We made an error in the 4th game that lasted for game 12, 13 until we figured out, oh no, we have done something wrong. But it's legacy. The train is on the rails. You cannot stop it anymore.
Yeah.
So that took away our enjoyment of that one. And this was just, of course we want to play it. And because we have a group and we are the 3 of us, my wife and Yoshi, my friend. And so of course we went through it, but it didn't have that height of that hype level that we had before. It was okay. Sometimes I was not as excited of certain mechanics, or the Easter eggs were the best part for me. It's like, oh look, and then referencing something else, and
yeah, I think we also had a bit of a bad experience with the second one, where we almost got to a stage. The last bit was almost impossible. We'd have had to have just been so lucky from drawing the deck, and we didn't know that. We couldn't. Looking back, it was like, oh, if we'd have done this, it would have been easier. But at the time, we had no idea. And I think that really, for me, probably took the pressure off season 0. Because 1 was great. That was phenomenal. I'd still say the best of the trilogy.
Yeah.
2 was good. And that was about it because of, that problem. So we went into season 0 without our expectations sky high, and maybe that helped. Maybe it was like refreshingly good, interesting choices, and I don't know. I enjoyed. Certainly my character had certain abilities that allowed me to do stuff quite quickly around all over the map, and that felt really quite effective, sort of thing, rather than.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't do anything on this turn again. So maybe that's why we enjoyed it. We had, we lucked out a little bit maybe on sort of the right combination of powers or something like that. But maybe it's because it was so much better than Series 2.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to spoil anything, but I feel that we were able to mostly keep the same team together like all the time. You know what you were doing. Everyone had their own part, and we did not try and do something. Sometimes you were forced to take on a different role, but the moment that job was done, okay, let's go back to our basic oiled machine.
Yeah, no, I see that. Yeah, with the passport system.
Yeah.
The passport's, if anyone panics, the passport is literally in the box. That's not a spoiler. Um, um, I liked that system. Yeah, it was maybe underused in terms of once you'd got one character, when you were happy with them, you probably didn't want to change unless there was a need.
Yeah.
So maybe they could have gone with that. But I did also like putting together the passport picture. That was quite good fun as well.
But it was really well done.
Yeah.
With the transparent parts, I was amazed. I was really amazed by how much fun it was just to create your character, to make a picture for your character in the passport. That was that was fun. Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. Two amazing lists of games. You had you said previously that you had you might have put Isle of Cats on the list. Anything else that you think is an honorable mention?
Yeah, there was a couple that sort of just missed the list. My City was one of them, and actually another legacy game, Zombie Teens Evolution, which is sort of I don't know if you've played that one.
No, I haven't.
It's more of a family-based game, but it's got some interesting sort of mechanics in terms of you're moving around this small sort of residential area with a school in the middle and some buildings on the outside. You're rolling some dice and different things spawn. I'm not going to say what, because as a legacy game things change, but it's got a nice sort of family friendly progression system in terms of, even if you lose, you put one of these brain stickers on the back of the rule book. But if you win and do an achievement, then you get to put a brain and an achievement sticker, and then that might slowly unlock that unlocks the new content faster. So there's always that sort of progression just by playing.
Oh, okay,
sure. I really liked that. I think some games are really punishing, and I thought that mechanic of, just all right, you're going to get this eventually. If you eat, and it wasn't like ramping the difficulty up always. It was just changing something. It just helped things stay a little bit fresher. Did you have any other that just missed your list, or?
Well, I have played. I'm playing Cantaloupe right now, which is a story game that is like it wants to be a point and click adventure, like we had on the computer. Like it's a huge book. It is awesome. It's called Cantaloupe by Lookout Games. That we are going through at the moment. It's a really good experience. I haven't finished it yet, so don't know what's going on. It's kind of like an escape room, but again, a totally different way. It's got text that me and my son were playing and giving voices to the different characters, and we're having a lot of fun with it. Under Falling Skies is a solo player game by Czech Games Edition that I really enjoy playing. It's a great puzzle. I was a little bit disappointed in Castles of Tuscany, Pandemic Season 0, New York Zoo, which is another polyomino game that I actually do like, but think there's something missing in the end game of that game. Calico, which is another awesome game about cats that we have actually played that on stream as well. There are some great choices in it. But we altered the game, and we made the game better. Yes, I'm putting it out there.
Okay.
When we play on stream, you don't get everyone... When you sit around the table, everyone would get their own 2 cards, like 2 tiles. It would be a bit like your hand cards. When it's your turn, you play one of them on your board, and then you take a new tile. And you try to get the perfect board, but at the end, you just need to be lucky if the tile comes up, because you only get to choose one of 3 tiles, and if it happens, it's just luck that it happens. And if it happens for you,
a small problem.
And it doesn't happen for your neighbor, then it's, why have we been playing? Just to see who got lucky at the end? So what we did when we play it on stream, we actually changed it, and we roll 4 dice, 2 with all the 6 colors and 2 with all the 6 shapes. and then it is up to you to make a combination of one color and one shape, just like they do in Castles of Burgundy, the dice game. And it is so good. It changes the game of Calico in a way that you think, yes, it is a luck-based game now, but you get to mitigate it a little bit because you get 2 choices. Actually, you get 4 choices. It's so much better, and I highly recommend the creators of the game to adapt my version in the game and make it, don't make it a roll and write like that, but make it a roll and write.
Yeah, it sounds like a very similar system that King Domino Duel used, where you roll the dice and you sort of pick a pair. And I could see that really working for it, because it was one of those games, like you say, that if the wrong tiles come out, or you're hoping for that single pattern and it just isn't coming out of the bag, it almost felt like the game was against you, not the world, but the game was against you. It's like, I need that specific pattern and or the specific colour, and it just doesn't happen, and that was frustrating at times, certainly.
And then chances are that when I look at your boards, like, oh, you really want that tile, and I can take it. Well, of course, I'm going to take it. Just to, I say, of course, that's not of course, but I might take it. And then you're like, but, yeah. Honourable mentions, Codex Naturalis, which is a small card game, which has got beautiful cards that glisten. Look it up. It is amazing. I think it's might not even be a 2020 release, but we got it in 2020. But it's really good. It looks beautiful. Codex Naturalis. And Cutterland, which was a fun game where you got a sheet that had 16 squares on it, and I cut and you choose, but I really cut with scissors. Yeah, and then you try to create an area of a little bit D&D like area that works with monsters on them, with goblins on them, and they all score in different ways, but I cut and you choose, and then I get whatever is left over. It's an amazing mechanic, and I really love it in that game.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen any other game do something quite like that either. It's quite a literal take on cut and choose, but a really good one.
Yeah, I really liked it. I liked Meeple Land. I liked Traintopia. Just going through the list at the beginning of when we said we would make this list, I thought, I don't think I have played that many new games. But in the end, it's not true. I do have played a lot of games.
Yeah, I think there was a couple of others that sort of just weren't there. Starcadia Quest was one for me. I don't know if you've played Starcadia Quest or Arcadia Quest.
No.
It's just a lot of throwing dice, and it's going to be one of those games I think is going to move up as I can play it with more people. It's not good at 2. It's playable, but the way the campaign works, if one player gets behind in the campaign, it feels hard to get out of that hole sort of thing, to actually come back and take the lead. You're almost behind for like the rest of the campaign, because that person's got more points. They get first pick on the new lots of items and stuff like that. As soon as you add more people, I can see everyone going, well, I'm not letting you win the next game, and everyone ganging up on them, because you can not only kill all the monsters that are there, but you can kill the other crews, and you get points for doing that. And there's these chunky plastic minis, because it's from Cool Mini or Not, Ceylon, or whatever they want to be called now. And it's just it's the fun and thrill of throwing those dice, and I can just see when there's 4 people sat around the table, all ganging up on each other at different times. It will take that game to new heights, sort of thing. And then another one that I put on a different list for me was Fallout Shelter, the board game.
Oh yeah.
Big fan of the series. The app was fun, and then this just sort of takes the app and turns it into worker placement goodness. One of the best components of a game, a bit like the transparent plastic stickers in Pandemic Legacy Season 0, this was translucent plastic cards that you put over the top of locations, and it would give like a power cut, or put a different type of monster there from sort of the Fallout universe, blocking the space until you'd killed it, sort of thing like that. And you slowly built the board, this worker placement board out, so it was almost one of the best bits of Lords of Waterdeep, where you built buildings around the edge, and those were new worker placement spots you could go to. This built out in the same sort of way, so I really like that one as well.
Wow. So many great games again.
Yes. And we thought 2020 wasn't going to have many good games, but there certainly seems a lot of them. Out of yours, I think, I said it at the time, I'm very jealous. I think the one I really want to play is Anno 1800, because I love the video games, and it sounds like it's just made that leap perfectly. Are any of the games that I mentioned that you thought, okay, I've got to give that one a go?
The card game, what was it called? Spicy. I really want to try that now, so I'm going to buy that in a second. When we're done, I'm going to order it.
Well, I apologise to your wallet then for spending that, but it is a great fun bluffing game. So there you go, everyone. There was our top 5 games of last year. It wasn't a bad year after all for games, apparently. Dave, where can people see you and hear you and all that jazz on the internet?
Come play with us every day at 9 p.m. on twitch.tv/LuzaPalooza. Twitch is completely similar to YouTube, except it's Twitch, and everything is mostly live, and that means that you can interact with whoever is streaming, which is so much fun. You can talk to us. We talk back, and we are having a conversation. Of course, you're not really talking, because then you would talk to your screen. But you can type in the chat. But we react and we create the game. We play the game together. We will take care of the rules for you. We will take care of the score sheet for you. All you need to do is just have fun with us. So every day, twitch.tv/LuzaPalooza.
There you go, everyone. And there's also the podcast. I don't know if you want to plug that as well.
Oh, definitely. This Game is Broken. That is the name of the podcast. A lot of fun. It is together with Matthew Jude, Paula Deming, and Nick and Mike Murphy. Awesome people. So funny. We have so much fun creating every new episode. So go and check it out wherever you find your podcasts. This Game is Broken. We're going to win the Golden Meeple, the Golden Geek Awards this year. So
well, I'll be voting for you. Don't worry. It's a great watch. I can certainly say that. If you even just remotely like board games, it's great fun, because they have loads of different rounds. So there's a little bit sort of for everyone to find entertaining as well. So definitely check that out.
Cool. Thank you so much for having me.
That's all right. Thank you very much for joining me. Thank you, everyone, for watching. And that's us with a top 5 list. Thank you.
Bye.